I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. So and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
Yeah, they certainly are. Now listen, if Disney wants to make more woke films that tank at the box office, they are more than welcome to do that, but maybe think of an original idea. Maybe not destroy a classic from my childhood and put an actress in there that not only hates the plot and the storyline of the movie she's in, but also seemingly hates Snow White, the character herself. I mean, that's one interview clip that you read the quote from, but she's gone on to talk about this film numerous times, how she once thought Snow White was creepy, she doesn't like the prince, she thinks she should get paid more because she has to wear that dress.
Move, bitch, get out the way.
Once in a while, there does seem to be justice, doesn't there? And it's about time that people learn from their freaking mistakes. Well, I can't really say much for learning from mistakes, but be corrected for their actions. Because never did I ever imagine that people would feel entitled enough to seem untouchable for making their employers look bad.
The reality is that the cartoon was made 85 years ago. It's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power. She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Doesn't this just seem like such a fun movie? That actress is so smug and this movie's gonna flop.
Rachel Zegler has been a menace to Hollywood society. Her entitled and repulsive attitude towards products of the studio that she was working for, representing, towards the fans, towards people, and just in general, has gotten everybody to converge and form a temporary alliance in their absolute despise of what she represents. And there was a rumor floating around that she was going to be fired. Now, Snow White, the movie, was already made at the time it was announced, so I didn't think she'd be fired from that movie, but it turns out that she was supposed to also be in Paddington 3, and they decided to drop her ass. Because, funny enough, I know, tickle me red, it's actually bad for business to have somebody out there gawking their everlasting throat about things that make everyone divisive. You want people to watch your movie. You're supposed to be part of the marketing campaign for the movie. People are supposed to want to come and see you, and I can't imagine that somebody would not be aware of how much they're actually sending people away. Sending people running from the hill. Now, with the Hunger Games movie, when this was announced, people were like, I don't want to see that if she's in it. Just the very fact that she's in it now is turning people off. It's kind of like that Subway guy a few years ago when he got caught with questionable situations.
Oh, hell no.
If anybody saw that guy on the front page of another product that he decided to work for or represent, they would immediately boycott that thing, regardless of how much they've supported it in the past. It's like bad juju. And that's what Rachel Zegler is for movies. It's disgusting. And especially since she's supposed to be representing a princess at the time this marketing campaign started, one of the most affable and amiable and sweet people. It's ironic that she has more in common with the evil queen. Funny enough, the character who was portrayed by someone who ironically exudes more elegance than she does. It makes sense why they would fire someone like her, because she is costing the productions a lot of money by turning people away from seeing it. The dregs of people who were going to see it in the first place. And I hate to bring this up, but there was a double standard that was happening. And whenever actors, specifically men, had a scandal attached to their name, or there was just some drama or allegation against them, they were immediately cut from every production that they were supposed to be starting without even being proven guilty or innocent or whatever. However, you would have people like Rachel, who claimed to champion for femininity, and women being the worst representation of not only the studios that they're working for, but also of the community they claim to be representing or be proud to be representing. And they're doing a bad job at both. And it's like the studios don't get this until they start losing money, and it takes a few years before they understand. And funny enough, other studios will see someone else falling over the cliff, and they'll think to themselves, wow, they just fell over that cliff. I better go do it too. Must be the new trend. And I guess it takes them an entire era of existence to realize that this might not be a good idea and it actually costs money. I mean, it's not like they didn't have sources of history to prove that when you turn off the audience or try to reward entitled people that turn against the audience or make your product look bad or talk shit about your product, that you'll start hemorrhaging cash.
So I've lost a ton of money, but I'm holding. I still believe.
But yes, in the end, it does come around back to finances. Now it's funny because they'll claim that Zegler's role in the movie has been recast due to her unavailability caused by the Screen Actors Guild American Federation of Television and Radio Artists strike for better wages. Kind of funny if you think about it. Protection against artificial emotional intelligence, and more. Sure, it was. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like something that someone would say as a means of plausible deniability, so she can't say, you discriminated against me because you didn't like what I said. And they can just say no because you weren't available, bro. It is what it is. I mean, if that were really the case, it's just odd to me because at the time the article that came out said that according to Scooper Daniel Reitman's Twitter post, Padding 3 is approximately 2 weeks away from finishing production. Now, it did also say that given that the film largely stars European actors who aren't a part of SAG-AFTRA, the movie began filming in the UK on July 24th without Zegler. It was initially believed Zegler would join the production once the SAG-AFTRA strike ended. However, while SAG-AFTRA is now set to resume negotiations, it appears the movie is moving forward without her. Conveniently so. I think they're just glad for the opportunity because no one wants to be in that position to just outright say, you know what, you're kind of a sucky person and we saw how you handled your other employers, so we're gonna have to let you go because even all the work you've done, just we don't want you here. Like, it's much easier to say, no, it's because it's just inconveniencing us, so we're just gonna recast her. Probably the best decision they could ever make, regardless of what the reason is. I can imagine people who were interested in seeing Padding would be very happy to know that she's no longer going to be a part of it, but this also cost them a lot of money because now they have to reshoot all of that, whatever they did shoot already, recast her. That cost them a bit. All in all, I'm not saying that Rachel Zegler or people like her should never be able to work again. I just believe there's a certain level of quality and professionalism that is expected from actors, and this used to be the thing before. Now, we were all born around the advent of social media, but you do see older clips and people from older generations and how they carried themselves in interviews and you realize that there were direct consequences for their action. A lot of their viewpoints they kept to themselves because there wasn't really a way for them to come out and broadcast it and for it to continue barreling out of their mouths with no freaking filter. It's not that it's wrong for them to have their own opinion, but at the moment when you're representing a movie or a production, you should keep that shit to yourself so you don't divide your fan. It's weird, like she said. If you're starring in a movie about cars or car racing, and then during your press interview, you're like, I think car racing sucks. I mean, that's so freaking archaic. You know what I mean? This car racing thing is not gonna focus so much on car racing, but on the woman behind the wheel. People are gonna look at you like, the fuck, bitch? Just what? Don't even speak. Where is your PR? Like, obviously these people are trying to get people to not see the movie because if there was ever a way that I needed ASAP to repel people as fast as possible or sabotage my own production, you would be the face of that. You would be the very thing I would use. You were Raid for movie audience goers. Like, it's just weird. I don't know. It's not such a bad thing that this is happening because people need to understand that they need the audience members to make them. You cannot be a celebrity without people seeing you as such. And when you start to put yourself on that level that is like below humanity or the basic way people should treat other people from being so high up, you become distasteful. You become like a rotten egg. The star-spangled sparkles in your eyes start to fade away and people are broken from out of that trance that made them even believe that there was anything remotely magical about you being a celebrity. Now you just look like a grade A asshole or somebody on the street that they walk by every day, which technically that's what celebrities are. They just have more money. But you now look below them. Celebrities are supposed to be people that represent something that people should aspire to. It's not that you should idolize them, but you should at least look at this person and say, you know what? This person embodies what I would like to be someday. I can aspire to be this, like this person. Even if they have personal stuff going on and we realize that they're human beings too, the way they represent themselves to look good for the productions that they are part of, or for themselves basically, because you're selling your image, you want people to come and see your movie, like Henry Cavill, Argyle, that movie that came out in the trailer. I immediately want to see it because he's in it because he represents that class that a lot of actors lack. Gal Gadot also represents that elegant class. She may be a shitty person behind closed doors, but how she carries herself, it makes me secure as a person. If I were to be like a director or something, that I could send her out there and say this, speak good about the movie, and I could trust that she will represent our company or production well. But not just that, the actors in times gone by would represent themselves well because they understand that this production that they're a part of isn't going to be the only work they're going to have. They're going to need more work later on. That's how acting works. You have to have other people call you on, and some actors have fallen out of that realm, not of any wrongdoing that they've done, but simply because a movie just didn't do well and they're attached to that movie and it just sucks and they're never called back again. So it actually is beneficial to the actors themselves to make themselves look marketable for themselves. And Rachel not only made the production look bad, worse than it already did to begin with, that wasn't really wholly her fault, but she made herself look bad. I will still want to see anything that Gal Gadot is in, even though she's tied to the stupid Snow White movie. I don't associate her with the Snow White movie because she, as an artist and a celebrity, is something that I aspire to. She's very elegant, and graceful, and poised, and sweet, and down to earth. She is the perfect candidate for someone I want representing my movie. So if she stars in something else, or Henry Cavill, or Denzel Washington, I will watch it just because those people are in it. Now anything attached to Rachel, just because she's so repulsive, I will stay away from it regardless of what it's about. Like the Hunger Games movie I really wanted to see. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents. What do you guys think about it? Do you think this is actually a good thing regardless of the reason it is they fired or cast her in the first place? For actors to be shot down a few pegs and realize that they need the audience and the fan. I figured also with acting that when they went to school, if she even did, that one of the things they teach you is how to speak to people. Maybe that's not a thing anymore because of social media, but before I thought they were trained on the art of presentation so that you don't make yourself look like an ass. I don't know what happened along the way, but somebody gypped her. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.